LS566, and this is the companion piece to my presentation on PREMIS. Alright, and this is the data dictionary, which is the condensed, it's the good parts of the PREMIS standard. So this is the actual elements and their examples, and you can see what I was talking about. It would be hard to fit all of this on a PowerPoint slide. So we have, even their metadata has metadata, we have the left side elements and the right side content. So this is the semantic unit, and this one's object identifier, which is the unique ID. And here we have the semantic components, which are part of the semantic unit. And we'll see how that works later. Alright, so we have the definition here. And we also have the explanation. And the data constraint is that's related to the XML, so this is an XML container. Alright, so, and as I said previously, we have representations, which are digital objects as we think of them. The file, which would be a single document, .py, .cpp, .ry, .docx, and bitstream is data within a file, which would be it has a meaning, but it isn't a standalone executable file. This one's hard to get into. You'd have to actually read the standard a few times to understand what they're getting at. But we have the applicability, repeatability, and obligation for all three. So applicability is, can you even apply the standard to this particular type of object? And on this, yes, we can apply them to all. Can you repeat them? Yes, you can repeat this, oddly enough. And obligation, you have to have them for all of these objects. Alright, and these are the notes section here, which further explains the element. And let's go down to the subpart of the object identifier, the first one being object identifier type. And this doesn't have any further semantic components. You can't break this down any further. Alright, so again, this is the this names the area where this unique ID will work, more or less, and it explains why that they felt the need that that this should be that specific. All right, and they suggest that the value is taken from a controlled vocabulary. A lot of the requirements for PREMIS are not set in stone. They're not like you must use this particular standard. They really like controlled vocabularies, but they don't set any hard and fast rules usually. Alright, so we see that you can apply this to all three types, and we have examples of what this would be. Remember, we didn't have examples of the parent unit of this because it doesn't have its own values. So these identify, this is the domain. So if it was Birmingham Memory, it would be BHMM or something like that. Just to let you know where this this particular value will have authority. Alright, and we can't repeat this, and you must have it. Alright, and we have usage notes, no maintenance notes on this one. And we get to the second semantic unit of the object identifier, and this is the value of the object identifier. So where we would think of the object identifier would have its own value, they've separated it out even further. So it's applicable for all three file types, and here's examples. So that's obviously just a number that has been assigned to this object at random, just like our pictures on the poll or the football pictures it just gives them like this is image 350. It just assigns the value. And here's the file name. So, and just like I said, these are just same idea. It's just uniquely identified. There's no repeating file names. And these are all, of course, mandatory. Okay. And rather than going through the elements one by one, since there are quite a few, there are 13 semantic units, and many of them have semantic components, and some of their semantic components further have semantic components. So we're going to switch over and look at an actual record. Okay, so this is a record. So we have the object identifier in the semantic unit column, and we have the object identifier type and value in the semantic unit column. Then there's a blank column because there's no further semantic units. So this object identifier only works in OCLC, and here is what I'm guessing is an OCLC number. That might not. They might have just done something random. All right, here's their preservation level, and they are going to store it. And they have chose not to further explain this. There are other things for preservation level. They could explain why it has this particular level or what this level means in the context of their category. Here's the object category. It is a representation, so this is a digital object in the way that we think of them commonly. And then we have fixity. So at this particular object, there is no, it's not applicable. There's, whatever this is, you can't use an algorithm to determine if it's changed. You can't, and it doesn't have a size, but if it did, it'd be measured in kilobytes. Alright, so you can see how it goes, and this is the, I wish they had values in this particular record, but okay, so object characteristics, you see format registry name. You see these have plenty of sub-values here. This goes all the way down the semantic unit tree because there's format is a very wide designation, and they chose to break that down pretty finely since we are concerned with the digital aspects with PREMIS. All right. And let's just go down, and here's another one that has the full set going all the way through. But you will notice that some of them, let me find a good one, like object category, there's no semantic units. So it's just a file. There's no way to break that down further within the logic of PREMIS. Alright, I think that pretty much sums it up. So it's a great system. It's very thorough, and I'm